Well, folks, Democrats could be screwed in U.S. elections for decades to come, thanks to clear population trends and electoral shifts inside of the United States, with people leaving places like California and New York, favoring states like Florida and Texas, leaving those liberal policies behind. The GOP could dominate elections going forward. And this is not just speculation. It's based on the 2030 Electoral College forecast from recent population growth trends that favor conservative states. So let's dive into it here. So the United States population has grown roughly about a little under 9 million since 2020, and the numbers show a very clear trend. Conservative states in the South and Midwest are booming, while liberal states are shrinking. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, 2024 estimates, Florida added roughly 1.8 million residents since then, a staggering 8% growth driven by no state income tax, great job opportunities, business-friendly environment. It is just, what better place to go than the great state of Florida? It's like, where are the great states for economic prosperity right now? Texas, Florida, Arizona, Georgia. Those are where people want to go. And Texas is another powerhouse in its own right, with strong economic growth and domestic migration that has fueled its population surge. These states aren't just growing, they're gaining political power. And just so we can all see here, we're going to pull up a map of the 2024 election and the 2020 presidential election, just so you can see the difference here. So in 2020, Donald Trump won the state of Texas and the state of Florida. He won the state of Florida by, 3.5 points? He won Texas by 6? Is that right? Yeah, a little under 6 maybe, like 5.5, 3.5. This is how crazy, it's not only population trends, but the trend of the political ideologies within inside of these Republican strongholds are shifting more and more to the right. In 2024, President Trump won the state of Texas by 14 freaking points. 14 points. A shift from 5, almost tripled his margin. Florida, we're looking at here, the great state of Florida, 3.5%. Wow. Blew it out of the freaking water. 13.1%, almost 1.5 million votes. 1.5 million votes. And like we said, these states aren't just growing, they're gaining political power. Meanwhile, places like California and New York are losing people thanks to high taxes, overregulation, and unaffordable cost of living, leading to projected losses of 3 and 2 electoral votes respectively in each state. And this shift is no accident. Americans are voting with their feet. They're leaving blue states for red ones. The only thing that they need to do now is the people who are leaving these blue states, we either need them to be conservatives who are coming to red states, or we need them to leave. Don't forget, if you're leaving California because of how horrible it is there, don't leave California, come to Texas, and then vote for the same horseshit policies that made California the way it is. The same thing with New York. Don't leave New York and come to Florida and then vote for the same horseshit policies that put you in place up in New York. Because here's the bottom line, is that the 2030 Electoral College forecast shows each of these, Texas and Florida, gaining 4 electoral votes, along with Idaho, Utah, and Arizona, which that's an 11 electoral vote advantage for the Republicans and a 9 electoral vote loss for the Democrats, and 2 listed as toss-ups, which is obviously going to be Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Now, if we apply this to the 2024 election, the outcome shifts from 312 electoral votes for Trump to 321 and 217 for Kamala Harris. Like, it is definitely a change if you're looking at this. It would only expand President Trump's margin. And this redistribution is locked into the Constitution, which allows every 10 years for the reallocation of House seats every 10 years based on population. And it's based on, from the Brennan Center, you can take a look over here. They talk about it a lot, but this is where you're looking at reapportionment of congressional seats. You see Texas gaining 4, Florida gaining 4, California losing 4, New York losing 2, Pennsylvania losing 1. You see, where are these states? And then you have a lot of states who are staying the same. And then Rhode Island, of course, losing 1. But also this will affect the Electoral College, because the Electoral College is based on the number of representatives that are from that state, the senators and the House of the federal representatives. And this isn't just a temporary advantage here. It is a structural shift that is favoring Republican strongholds. Starting in the 2032 election, the data from the America Redistricting Project and Census Bureau projections make it clear the Electoral College is tilting more and more red. And here's the reality. Is the Electoral College the best way to for proper representation? Maybe, maybe not. I think you can make the case both ways. But here's the reality. The Senate was formed this way, and the Electoral College was formed this way because each state was its individual state. We were not one country. We were 13 individual colonies to begin with that needed to make a pact so they had equal representation. Why would a smaller state like Massachusetts or New Hampshire or Vermont, why would they join forces with the powerhouse of like a Virginia or a New York when if they're not going to have more representation, they're going to ask for more power in this? Because why are they going to join with these other countries or these other states to become one country? But ultimately, this is the system that we have right now. It has worked for almost 250 years for us. And I think it's ridiculous. People have talked about abolishing the Electoral College. I don't agree with it now. I didn't agree with it 10 years ago. That's just the simple fact. It doesn't matter which way this tilts. The Electoral College is the best way. As of right now, this is what we have. This is the best way forward. I do not believe that we should go to a straight popular vote. I don't think it would be horrible. I think it would change the dynamics of politics. But when you have the Electoral College, it forces candidates to go to places like North Dakota, like Iowa, like Nebraska, like Oklahoma, like Utah, like Georgia, like Ohio. Like, it forces candidates to look out for the needs of those states. Because at the end of the day, there may not be a lot of people in Iowa. But here's the reality, is that they also create a lot of economic growth. There are farmers there. Maybe the population per acre is a lot smaller, but ultimately, these people do a lot of basic tasks that we need for national security and for the security of our country. And they must have clear representation as well. But so the real question is why does this benefit the Republican states? And it's simple. The states gaining the populations are the states that have the biggest conservative bastions or competitive states that are trending to the right. According to a Pew Research Center in 2022 poll, data shows that 69% of rural voters who dominate these regions back Republicans compared to just 29% for Democrats. Urban areas where Democrats thrive are stagnating or declining. California and New York's population losses are a direct result of failed radical liberal policies. Sky-high taxes, overregulation, open border chaos, which is driving longtime residents, even conservative residents, out of these states. Meanwhile, red states like Texas and Florida offer freedom, low taxes, and opportunity, which attracts patriots who want to embody those principles. And, Census Bureau projections confirms that this trend is expected to continue, with the South and the Midwest outpacing the Northeast and West. Immigration policies under a potential Democratic administration could flood blue states, though, with new residents. We saw what Biden tried to do. During they tried to bring in 10, 11, 12 million illegal immigrants and then tried to say, we need legislation to fix this issue, which would have just given amnesty to 11 million illegal immigrants that they brought here, which was totally ridiculous. Anyone with a brain who saw that we're going to spend all this money on amnesty for illegal immigrants, it's a joke. It's a complete joke. Because we didn't need legislation. We needed a new president. But that's what the Democrats are going to try and do. They're going to try and bring massive amounts of illegal immigrants here, sign an amnesty bill, and then put them in places that are conservative Republican strongholds so that they can tilt the Electoral College away from them. And that's why it is so important that Trump follows through on what he said he's going to do in his tenure, so a Republican can win in 2028, and we can ensure that there's a fair process, the apportionment process that respects American citizens and where the population trends have gone, and we're not going to ship in millions of illegal migrants, give them amnesty, and then all of a sudden now we can count them in the census and they can vote. Because this isn't just growth. This is a mandate for conservative values moving forward. It is a very clear. People are voting with their feet. They're leaving liberal strongholds, going to places that embody conservative values. And now some might argue that Democrats could adapt. They, with younger, more diverse voters, could shift states like Florida, like Texas, more to the left. But let's be real. Those demographic changes take decades, and current trends show that Hispanic voters and rural voters are increasingly aligning with Republicans, especially Hispanic voters. Young men aligning with the Republican Party even more, as seen in the 2024 election. Trump, there was this big dream, the blue Texas dream. They thought they were going to be able to turn Texas blue. Are you kidding me? Trump expanded his margin by he tripled his margin. Not even close. The blue Texas dream is dead because Hispanic voters are leaning more and more and more to the Republican side. Look at this. Let's even just take a look at the presidential election down here. Look at this. You look at all these counties down here. El Paso. I'm not going to be able to pronounce all these. But look at all these blue counties down here. Deep blue. It's we're talking, these are big wins. 30-point wins for Biden in 2020. Look over to the 2024 election. Wow. El Paso. Biden only won it by 15 points. In 2020, he won it by, it actually expanded there, which is contrary to what the rest of these look like. Look at Maverick. Biden won Maverick by 10 points. 2020, Trump won Maverick by 19 points. A huge shift and these are places that are 70, 80, 90% Latino communities. And they are backing President Trump by larger margins than they ever have, which is turning the establishment way of thinking that minorities are going to vote with the Democrats and that the Republican Party is the party of the white wealthy, which is totally not true now. The Republican Party is the party of the working class. They are the party of the working class. They're the party of people who just want the government to stay the hell out of the way and let them go to work and let them provide for their family. They're not asking for a handout. They're asking for the government to get out of their way so they can go to work and get their stuff done. And like we said, the 2020 election is critical. A Democrat win would mean open borders, unchecked immigration, which could tilt the population growth back towards blue states or even make Republican strongholds less, they could reduce the margin that the Republicans have in these states. But with strong Republican leadership from President Trump, we can secure America's future and maintain this electoral vote advantage. Because if you look, in 2020 or 2032, if things go the way they're supposed to go right now, and we see Texas and Florida pick up 4 electoral votes each, respectively, this is what we're going to be looking at. And I'll just go through and fill out the Republican states here. Oops. But we could be seeing a completely different view of what things are. Let's see. And they'll win 2. They'll win 1. Let's see. But things will be totally different after the 2030 when they go through and redistribute some of these electoral votes out. Let's see. So even if they win in these states, so Trump wins everywhere. Let's say it's Vance in 28. Vance wins everywhere. He wins Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. But does not pick up Pennsylvania, Michigan. The Democrats hold on to these strongholds here. Let's see. This is where the map would be as of then. But here's the reality. The reality is that if the Republicans don't win these states here, but they pick up all of these seats, they'll be at 270. 4 more electoral votes from Texas, 4 more from Florida, and 3 more between Idaho, Utah, and Arizona. They'll be at 279. They will win. They will not need to win the blue wall, which we absolutely should try and win the blue wall, but they would not need to win the blue wall. Like we said, this would be a 321 electoral vote victory for Trump if this were the map in 32 and he was running. That's just the reality here. But really, in conclusion, Republicans are going to dominate future elections because of population growth is concentrated in red states like Texas and Florida, while blue states are losing people. The 2030 Electoral College forecast proves it. 11 more votes for Republicans, 9 fewer for Democrats starting in 2032. And this is not just a fluke. This is a result of Americans choosing freedom, lower taxes, and opportunity over liberal policies. It's like we're going to keep up to date on the U.S. Census Bureau, the Brennan Center, and any other information we get on what this process could look like. So we will keep you up to date. But if you agree, Republicans are America's future right now. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, smash that bell so you never miss another video from us again in the future, and we will catch you next time.